Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Peace and wisdom. Now you have life and death. And that's the duality. And this is how we perceive things. But this is wrong. There is no life in death. And this is why I want to do this video for you guys called Ancient Dreamtime Knowledge. It's very important. Perception is everything. Now we see life as life in death. But there is no life in death. What there is dream world or dream time. And then you have awake world or awake time. And these are the two realms of existence. And the life will pan out into these two realms of existence. Now, the life is the conscious. And that's who you are. And the conscious will transcend through these two states of existence. Dream time and awake time. And in that, we perceive it as life and death. Being as though we're in the awake time. The awake time is associated with physical bodies. Dream time is associated with spirits. So this is how we perceive it. Body and spirit are physical and unphysical. But it's truly just dream time and awake time. And the conscious is who you are. And you will exist or transcend through these two realms of existence. Now, you have living beings in dream time, or what we know as spirit world. And this would be the spirit body. And you can correlate this to like gases, vapor, a cloud. Before you get physical water, you have like the fog, which is not physical, but not quite what we would call unphysical. And this is dream time. And the conscious will exist in that state, physically and consciously. So the conscious will transcend into spirit, or gases, or fog, that ghostly existence like. And it will interact and experience life through that. Or it will transcend or condense more and go into the physical. And this is awake time. So it's truly a deep thing, but it's simple. I'm trying to find the words for you guys to grasp. Now you are the conscious. And the conscious will exist in these two realms of existence. Dream time or awake time. So now here's an example. You're a physical person existing in physical life. So this is awake time. And you're the conscious living in this realm. But the conscious is all and the conscious creates all. So it's a deep thing. You will come and go out of awake time, even though you're in awake time. So we kind of think physical is separate from unphysical. And you will experience the unphysical or the spirit world when you die. And this is not true. The life is all in one existence. It comes from one existence, which is the conscious, which is who you are. So you have to grasp. Now, the conscious will exist in the physical. So you're in the physical, but even though you're in the physical, you still dream. You still daydream, where you drift off into your own. You still sleep. This is dreaming. So you still come and go consciously through both states of existence, even though you're locked into awake time or physical life. So you're locked into awake time or physical life, but you still consciously sway in and out of dream time and awake time. Now, you can associate being knocked out, you can associate daydreaming, all these different states as dream time. And you experience this in physical life. Now, we don't know what dreams are, so we kind of have that thrown to the side. And then we have this thing called life and death, so this creates more confusion. But if you erase all of man's concepts like life and death and things like this, then you clearly can grasp there's just two states of existence: dream time and awake time. Now, the conscious natural state of existence is what we would call unconscious. Nothingness. But nothingness is everything. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. From nothingness is where this all came. So the vapor, the fog, it came from what you didn't see. So grasp. The water, the physical water, came from the vapor, the fog. So it's a deep thing. It's all one, transcending or condensing into a different form or state. And this is you. This is the conscious. Transcending or condensing into a different form or state, existing in that realm, which will be either dream time or awake time. So it's a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, what we call death, when you die, this is just this is just dream time. Unphysical. But it is not to say it is unconscious. It is not even good to say it's unphysical. Because what we call the spiritual, it's physical, it's just less condensed than you. So it is like water to water vapor. You can't see the water vapor, but they're one and the same. So it's not a separate thing, but it's a matter of perception, where you are in the life. Vapor can see vapor, but water can't really see vapor, and you can correlate water to yourself, physical. So, water can see water, and water can see you and interact with you, but the water can't really interact with the vapor. It's rising away from the water. But it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now, the conscious, let's say you're dead, or what we call dead, being out of awake time, or the body. You will still experience life the same way you do physically, except you'll be in what we view as dream. And this is dream time. So when you dream, you actually snap into what we call the spiritual realm. And you're interacting and existing in that realm. It's a deep thing people do not grasp. You shift in and out. And when the spiritual, meaning those that are in that realm, for good or not for good, or what we would call dead out of body, when they dream, or what we would call dream or perceive as sleeping and dreaming, when they do that, they come into our physical realm of life. And they don't take physical form, but they interact with the physical life the same way. You are not in spiritual form when you're dreaming, but you're consciously interacting in that life. And you perceive it no different than the physical, because a man in spirit or body is still the same conscious being. So this is why you don't really see a difference. But it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. We perceive life wrong. Therefore, it causes confusion in understanding. So we think, oh, when we die, it's over, and it doesn't work that way. It's like a conscious coming and going from the physical to the unphysical, or awake time and dream time. So when you see the sun coming and going, daytime and nighttime, this is just the conscious coming and going from the physical. So grasp. Coming and going from awake time to dream time. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Everything is that conscious coming and going in and out of physical and unphysical form. And the life is all within the life. So it's so deep. Everything is, the conscious is becoming everything. The spiritual realms, the physical realms. So all is just one thing. Like, we tend to see things weird, and we say, like, there's aliens or different life forms out there, and you have to understand, all life will spread out and reproduce and continue to spread out and reproduce, and the life is expanding, not just multiplying, but moving out. Now, as time goes by, we would call these things alien. So you figure an African tribe 20,000 years ago left Africa and went to the next continent and began to populate there. And then, over time, they left that continent and went to the nearest one to there and began to populate there. Now, over time, the way man perceives things, after 10,000 years, men will perceive that life on that other continent that they never seen, something else. So I'm giving you a perspective. The life expands out in, it's a deep thing I need you guys to grasp. It's like your great-great-great-grandchildren. You don't see your great-great-great-grandfather as anything, really. You see my point? So it's a deep thing. It's like separation, but we have everything separate, but it's all conscious, just coming and going in and out of physical and unphysical form. So sperm cells getting eggs is the conscious spirit coming into physical or awake time. So everything correlates to dream time and awake time. Sperm cells that are not in egg cells, you can say they're in dream time. They're in spirit form. So you grasp? Now, let's say the sperm cells don't get eggs. So then they just continue to exist in spirit form. A sperm cell get an egg, exist in physical form. But it will return back to dream time. Even during his physical life, his conscious, which that's who he is, will come and go out of physical and unphysical, or dream time and awake time, but he will return to dream time. This is what we call death. He will return to spirit again, and he may go back into physical again on another level of life. Maybe not. But either or, it's all either dream time or awake time. Now, like I said, the conscious time is what we would call unconscious or nothing. But the dream came from the unconscious or the nothing. And from the dream came the awake time. So you see how they are all... Life is so cold-blooded. Every aspect of life you've already experienced, you already know, but you don't, if that makes sense. But it's a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. We have to begin to get a better perception or viewpoint of life. Life is like a ride from atom to star. So you started your physical life as an atom, then a cell, then an organism, then a star. But it's an interesting thing because between each levels of these lives, you get a point that we call death or dream time. And that's like an exit off the ride if one should choose. But if not, one will continue through the whole physical ride, which is, going from an atom, cell, organism, star, and so on and so forth. And that's the physical ride of life. Once you get on that ride, baby, you're stuck in what the Hindus would call samsara. And you just keep going and ascending up through the different levels of life. So you were a cell at one point in time in your life. You was a sperm cell, and you got an egg. So you have to grasp. And it's so on and so on the same. So you went from cell level to organism. And before you were a cell, you were an atom. So you have to grasp. It's truly a deep thing. Now, I know you don't remember being a cell, but the only way you could have possibly gotten here is if you were a sperm cell that got an egg. In order for you to be a sperm cell, which is the spirit of a cell, you would have had to have been a cell at one point in time in your father's body. And cells die, and the energy within the cell or the spirit becomes what we call sperm cell. And those spirits get bodies and ascend up to the next level of life, which is an organism. And so it continues that way. Your spirit or sperm cell will ascend up and become a star. And that's the ride of life. But you can get off the ride. See, what we call as death is like a time to exit the ride for good and say, oh, hell no. Because what we call the spiritual or the unphysical part of life, that's part of the physical ride also. So you have to grasp. Conscious is the only pure state of existence, and we call that nothing. But the other two states of existence, dream time and awake time, are spiritual and physical. They're both a part of physical existence. It's the transcending or the coming into. So it's a deep thing. The water has to become water vapor to become water. So grasp. Water evaporates, becomes vapor, to become water again. And that's the physical ride, going in and out of what we call unphysical and physical. But, that's the ride. And one can get off at any point in time. Not any point in time, but you have to wait to what we would call death. And death is the point in time where you can get off the physical ride of life for good. Or you can stay and just go back in and out of physical and unphysical. You can stay in each realm as long as you choose. So we think that we die and you don't have to physically die. Men just don't revive men. Men act like that's not a real thing. So when you die, you can be revived. Every part of your body can be restored. If you lose a finger, it can be sewn back on. Or another finger can be sewn back on. Or you can get a fake finger, or however. But every part of the body can be restored. Organs can be replaced, from brain to an eyeball, to a heart, lung, liver. So every aspect of the physical body can be restored. If you have knowledge of the thalamus, this is the memory, you can say, or the memory card of the conscious that was in this existence. So it's a simple, deep thing you guys have to grasp. You have, I lost my train of thought, but you have the thalamus. Every part of the physical body is restorable. And it's just a matter of bringing the conscious back. So when a person dies, or what we call dying, you can be revived. Just like when a man dies and then they shock his chest and bring him back, and you can always be revived. What we call death is truly not a real thing. It's a man's ignorance or a man's construct, meaning men either do this on purpose, or men either do not know anymore that there is no such thing as physically dying, but it's just a matter of restoring. You go your whole life restoring or fixing your body. If you get a gash, then you stitch it up. So you have to grasp my point. And y'all go even deep into, the plastic surgeries and things. But people go their whole life restoring their body. It's not, I don't want you to think, oh, if I die, then you do this now, restoring your body. And so there's no real limit where it's like, oh, when I die, it's over. Well, it's over because no one restores your body and restores your conscience to it. So this is why, we leave the physical plane faster than we normally would. I don't want to say normally because it's all a matter of knowledge. So if men don't have knowledge on how to stitch things up, or simple things like dental work, men's lifespan would be much shorter than you see now. A simple thing like a toothache would have took half of us out already. Literally, no, all jokes aside. Simple toothache, a rotten tooth. If we didn't have dentists, half of us would be dead already. Because toothaches are serious. And when the tooth gets rotten, it's deep. It gets into the brain, you be all... So the matter of time a person live all boils down to knowledge physically anyway. So to truly think, oh, I die at around 100, men can't live past that, well, men live as long as they fix themselves up, restore themselves up, restore the conscious to oneself. I mean, people drown and CPR and they're brought back. So the conscious was restored back. They were revived. So I don't want you to get lost. When a person dies, or what we call death, it's truly not a real thing. It's just a matter of no one restored that person. So we perceive it as say, oh, they died and that's the end of the road. And it is because no one restored them. But it's not truly the end of the road for them, but it's the end of the road for them here. But it's a deep thing. Horrible things happen here. That's why the physical is known as hell. Because horrible things happen here and things like that. Like, there's people that will die in your family tomorrow, and it's a deep thing. We have no clue that restore them. The same way the coroner comes get them, come get them and restore them. Restore whatever's wrong with their body and bring the conscious back. But it's sad because I think doctors of today, the really good surgeons and things, I think they know this already. But, population is a deep thing. They want to keep the population to a certain number because it's easier to control people. Once you get too many people, it's hard to keep track and control, and you have room for loss of power. But, so this is why they probably don't restore. Besides, we reproduce and multiply, but it's a deep thing. We do that because our lifespans are short, in a sense. So we kind of reproduce and do things in that way. But I was going to say, they probably don't do it because we reproduce so much. If you keep reviving a person every time they die and restoring their body, would have a great deal of people here. And that's not necessarily good either. So it's a deep thing I want you guys to grasp, but yeah, people die. They can be revived, but we don't deal with that knowledge in today's times. The ancient Egyptians, they did. So this is why you have like the mummies and things. They, would basically rip out, all the organs and things like this that would rot away at the physical body. They took those things out because they're restorable, meaning you could replace those things. And then, they pulled the brain out because you could replace that too, but they can get the thalamus out because that is like the memory and the conscious of the person, so to say. That's the conscious of that person. So you are the conscious, and the thalamus is like your conscious time here, frozen or condensed into time. So everything that you as a conscious being experienced here is locked in the thalamus. Now, when you die, or what we call dying, and you pass beyond the body, you will exist in either natural conscious state, which we call nothing, or you will exist in dream time, or what we would call spiritual form. But you can be snatched out of either existence back to your thalamus. And go back to the physical existence you were in. Or you can get an egg cell and go back into another level or physical existence that way. So there's many options and varieties of life, but this is what the ancient Egyptians were doing. They were basically restoring the thalamus, or preserving the thalamus, and preserving the physical body. So, if the body gets hard and fossilized, that's okay. You can get the body back in clay form. So it's like mud. Hard, dried out mud will be like rock, so mud brick. But you can wet it and get it back to mud. So the physical body was viewed as clay or mud, and you can work it out and make it buff or make it skinny, or you can do whatever with it, make it hard like rock or whatever. So they just had a better understanding, preserve the physical body, meaning not to say keep it looking perfect, but preserve it. Preserve the thalamus. All the other aspects, like the organs, they can be replaced at a later time. And in a later time in our science advancements, they will restore the mummies and bring the conscious back to the thalamus, and I guess we will grasp then around those times that, there's no limit to how long a person lives or dies here, or what we call that, but it's just a matter of reviving and restoring. And you do that now. So, you wouldn't be the age you are if you're 50, if, you didn't go through touch ups here and there. Doctor's visits, what we call, dentist visits, and, you know. So you wouldn't have lasted as long as you have if you having gotten restored here and there. So it really all just boils down to that, all the way up until what we call death is just really just a matter of what you call it, restoration? It's really just a matter of that. So people get old because they're not restored. But, none of this really matters because, in restoring, the physical life is complicated. You have to restore, you have to do a lot to just exist here. Restoring that causes complications. So the restoring becomes more restoring, and eventually, like, just let me go into the next realm, because all this restoring shit and snatching me out, I could just go into another physical, and exist, and whatever the case may be. But life is infinite, life is long. So it doesn't matter how long you're in any one state of being. You will always come and go out of it. So men live 5 years and dies 5 years old. It really doesn't matter. It ain't no different than a man living 100 years. I mean, the conscious comes and goes out of both existence. So, that 5-year-old baby that died will be physical again on another realm of life. If it goes into, that darkness that we call exile. But it doesn't necessarily have to. It can just exist for eons in what we call spiritual form or dream time, and then eventually get it. So it's all a long, infinite, weird thing. But once one grasps that all you are is just conscious, existing in these two different states of existence, and there is no life or death in either existence, meaning physically or unphysically, because all you are is the conscious existing in the body. So you're in this physical, but you're still in the unphysical and the conscious. You're the conscious. So you're in every state of existence because you are every state of existence. And the amount of time you exist is a matter of you. All the physical around you, restoring you. And it's the same with the unphysical. And there's truly no destroying, but only restoring. So, you die physically, and then you're spiritually, or what we would call spiritually, die spiritually and go into natural, pure conscious state, which we would call nothingness, or dreamless. To give you an example, you can say dreamless sleep. When you have dreamless sleep, this is natural, pure, conscious existence. This is your natural state of existence, your natural realm as a conscious being. Then you have what we know as dream world or dream time, where you're dreaming, and that existence is spiritual. Then you have awake time or physical. So this is you consciously just existing in your three states, so to say, in your three physical different forms. And you will go in and out of all three. The amount of time you're in them is like, oh, who cares? You will go in and out of them while you're in each existence anyway. So it's not a matter of, oh, you will go from physical to unphysical to natural conscious state. Then you will go back to... While you're in physical state, you dream. You get knocked out and go into complete nothingness. Then you snap out of it and you have no clue you were knocked the fuck out because nothing happened. You experienced nothing. So that's why when people get knocked out, they wake up and they right back to what they were doing. And it's like no separation for them. But so you experience all your existences, all yourselves, even in this physical. Even when you're in spiritual, out of the body, you will still experience physical, spiritual, and natural conscious state, which we call nothingness, blacked out, knocked out. Every state of existence you will experience all of the existences. Now, depending on how lost you are in your existence, then you will like perceive it as like, oh, I'm dreaming, and that's dream, and what's dream? I don't know, but that's what we do. We dream, and so you perceive things weird. It messes up the understanding, but that's truly all it is. You, as conscious, just exist in those states of existence, and you come and go through them all. Everything around you is doing the same thing. Even the star up above that you see, same things, coming and going. It's just conscious coming and going in and out of the physical and unphysical. And when Jesus prophesied about the time where the sun would be blotched out from man and that whole coming of the Son of Man, this is talking about the sun, but it's talking about a period of darkness where, you can say that's the dreamless sleep state, or what we would call unconscious or nothingness. But all of the life is going and coming out of all those states of existence, and every aspect of the life is nothing more than conscious, coming and going into physical and unphysical in its form of life. And this is how you get all the physical realm, and this is how you get all the what we call spiritual or unphysical realms from that conscious, which is you, or everything you see, transcending or condensing into those realms. So you don't have to view life as, oh, life and death, but it's just a matter of coming and going, and you're doing it now as you're alive in the physical, and it won't stop. It's just a matter of time differences. So daydream is not as long as sleep. Daydream is not as long as dream, and dream is not as long as death, or what we call death, but you come out of them all. So you have to grasp, it's just a coming and going thing. There's truly no life and death. You don't have to wake up from your sleep. You don't, it's deep. When you die, you don't have to stay dead. You can be revived, or what the ancients would have called restored, or resurrected, however you want to view it, but it's deep. I'm not sure if I'm breaking it down or explaining it clear enough. So I'm going to end this video now. Hopefully people can grasp, and hopefully people begin to get more one-on-ones. I do one-on-ones, on any topic you want to go deeper into and get a better understanding. But, the goal is to get land and teach from the land. I don't think I'm going to teach past this year on YouTube anymore, because this is not what it's about. So this is not what I came to teach for, to be on YouTube and things like that. It's all about teaching from the land, from the life, so people can grasp and truly understand. And that's what I want to do. So I don't want to be a famous guy teaching on YouTube, but I just want to be a guy that's on the land and teaching from the land. And that's what I want to do. And people can come there instead of come on YouTube. And that's what I prefer, and go to different places, different people lands, and teach. I prefer to do that, not be on YouTube and things like this. But I know the people are here, and you have to come where the people are first to direct them, wherever you're going to be or whatever. So it's a deep thing, but it's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace, the humble wise servant. Peace and wisdom.